This show is brought to you by ERN. Find us online at ernlive.com.
Welcome back, Street Rod Custom Radio. Like I promised, I have Fred Garza from Maradyne High Performance Fans. And anybody that builds a car and puts, heck, I can say this, even a 283 and a 57 Chevy ran hot. You know, especially had air conditioning and, you know, there's some crazy designs. So to put a big block in my 57, Fred, welcome to the show, by the way. I'm so wound up to have you. I'm pumped.
Oh, thanks, Boots. It's great to be on.
Yeah, but, you know, when I was building my car, my dream was to put a big block in it. And the first thing the old-timers were telling me, and we're talking back in 94, you can't do that. It'll run hot. 57 Chevys. I said, well, what about the fans? What about the water pump? You know, my thing was trial and error, man. It took forever. I have a CSI water pump now. And none of these guys sponsor me, by the way, so I'm not trying to promote anybody's product. But back then, everybody said the Be Cool fan systems were the way to go. So I went that route, but I put it on the front of the radiator. And another guy came up to me on one of the shows. I was still running 210, 220. He says, listen, put it on the backside and just reverse the wires. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound right. But it works. I never have gone over, maybe one time I hit 210, but that was August and it was 105 degrees out that day, and I was in traffic. A guy like me would call your company, and they would call the 1-800-403-7953, talk to one of your techs, and I asked that question, what's the first coaching they would give me?
Well, the first coaching we give you is please save us some room to fit a fan in there, because so many guys are you know, putting as big an engine as they can, and you know, with the 57 Chevy, you got a pretty good room under the hood. It's not like your 32 Fords where people are trying to put, you know, 383 strokers in and stuff like that. But yeah, we try to tell people, give us at least, you know, 4 inches between the radiator core and your water pump bolts.
Okay.
And, you know, also, too, a lot of people think, hey, I've got this old, you know, engine-driven fan that straps to the water pump, and what if I just put a fan on the front blowing in and, you know, leave the other? Really, that doesn't help that much. That just creates turbulence within there, and you don't get as good a cooling. So we always recommend take off that clutch, you know, fan or you know, engine-driven fan. Get your horsepower back for your foot, and go ahead and install either a single high-performance or a dual high-performance fan set like you have on that radiator. And really, those things should only run when you're going, say, 20 miles an hour or less.
See, mine's on all the time. Because you know what? I'm stubborn, and I thought of the original idea of cars with mechanical fan. If the water pump's spinning, the fan's spinning, so I said, heck with it. I'm leaving it on. Because I always had that fear of maybe it getting... am I wrong to say that once the temperature starts rising, there's no return at some point?
Well, the deal is it's about moving air across the heat exchanger, which is the radiator core, right?
Okay.
And hopefully you've got enough core there to cool the amount of heat your engine's producing. Now, there's a couple of different things, too. I've also had people who, you said you're running a CSI water pump. I'm assuming that's an electric. Yes. Dare I say, and I believe they're now CSR water pumps.
So
guess whose motor is in that water pump?
Yours.
It's a Maradyne / DCM, our parent company.
Okay, listen close. That's me knocking on wood. I've had that. I've had that same.
I'm just telling you.
No, I've had that same.
They're good. They're good motors. They work. Sometimes people get them going so fast. You know, I've heard anywhere from 60 to 90 gallons a minute flowing through there that the coolant doesn't even have enough time in the radiator to lose any heat. It's moving through so fast. So sometimes you got to knock those down a little bit on the speed of the motor and let that coolant stay in the radiator long enough to let go of its heat.
Okay.
But that said, a good dual fan system on any car that has a 24-inch or wider radiator should be good enough. And we, of course, have some very powerful motors and fan blades that will get the job done for you.
Well, here's what I would say. that water pump has never let me down, so I was knocking on wood because I love that thing. And having the proper voltage resistors going to it and stuff has been a help.
Sure.
And the other thing, too, when I had the fans on the front and I flipped them in the back, was that bad for me to have them on the front? Because I guess I was restricting the air. It makes common sense to tell me on the back, but which way it should have gone? The way I ended up or the way I started?
Well, no, the way you ended up is really the preferred way.
Okay.
The way I explain it to people. Now, let me ask you one question. Were your dual fans, were they shrouded? Did they have a plastic shroud?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. That was the big no-no. And the reason is that shroud was blocking air from the radiator that was never going to go through.
It looked good because we painted it to match the car.
Sure, I bet it did. But you were preventing certain areas of the radiator to never get cooled. So you were creating hot spots within the radiator that was working against you.
Okay.
When you flipped it and put it on the engine side of the radiator, which is where any shrouded product belongs, then think of it this way. Instead of blocking air that never goes through the radiator, now the front side of the radiator is clear. All the air is going through the radiator, and when it hits the shroud and is diverted either through the fan hole or out maybe even the side or whatever, at least it's picked up the heat and done its job.
Okay. Well, that's the thing, but it takes months. So, I think at this point in life, if they call your tech line, maybe you guys can coach them for the right water pump and the right voltage and the right. I mean, is that what you do, or how do you help a guy? Well, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, I'm going to throw a scenario at you like this. Number one, what's your website, real quick?
Maradyne, Maradyne, HP for highperformance.com.
Okay, so while we're on break, I want people to jump to your website. But while we're on break, I want you to think about the 67 infamous GTO that always ran hot, and how can we help that guy or girl? Because I guarantee you get that call every once in a while on some of them GM bodies that don't, man, they're just terrible. But you're tuned into Street Rod and Custom Radio with your host, Dan Boots Longenette, and we'll be back with more with Fred Garza of Maradyne High Performance Fans.
This show is presented in part by Haynes, the worldwide leader in automotive and motorcycle repair information for over 50 years. We'll be right back.